Wesley Walker, Tyler Barron, y'all, don't you always want to like the guys that are on your team? Didn't you look at Wesley Walker at one point as a guy that maybe was versatile, or maybe in retrospect, he couldn't find a position that he could excel at? It certainly looks like that now as he decided to move on. And then you had Tyler Barron as well, who was a player that you kept hearing that he wasn't too happy to be in the shadow of maybe two or three players, but I'm sure James Pierce was one of them. A lot of people are going to be in the shadow of James Pierce in his career. Now, Tyler, what do these guys have reported about them as they were reportedly dismissed by Louisville, where they were supposed to be going, and they barely stayed there, what, like 10 or 14 days, somewhere along there?
Yes, and we were attacking Louisville. Well, we were kind of attacking Tyler Barron, but because Tyler Barron had transferred from Ole Miss and then transferred from Louisville before landing at Miami, we were also attacking Louisville because it just sounded like they were writing NIL checks they couldn't cash because so many people were transferring out after transferring to them in the off season. So we were saying, what's going on? Now, I'm going to say this up front. I want to be clear. We are citing a person who works for Cardinal Sports Zone, a guy named Jeremy Wamman, who works for Cardinal Sports Zone, meaning he could potentially be totally biased to Louisville. Maybe he's running clout for Louisville. Who knows? However, what he said on a podcast known as College Football Addiction earlier this week, he said that Wesley Walker, Tyler Barron, and a guy named Penny Boone were all represented by an agent. And his quote is this: "I'm going to dispel the rumors that they had NIL issues. Coach Brom kicked them all off the team because they were starting trouble in the locker room, telling everybody, oh, I'm making this much. You should tell your guys to get you this much." So it was a situation where you had some troublemakers in the locker room, coach about it, and gave them a boot. So effectively, Tyler Barron and Wesley Walker and Boone, according to this source, were encouraging players to go demand more NIL money than they were getting on the team, which Jeff Brom didn't want, and Brom then kicked them off.
I'm going to provide a little bit of, I think, college football, big-time college football background that, Caleb, I don't believe you'll know, and I believe a lot of our listeners will appreciate. At least I hope so. Do you know about what percentage of players I've considered quitting early on in their playing career?
What percentage? I have no idea.
Probably upwards of 60 to 70%. I think
really?
Yes. I think there's
you mean
probably
in the age of NIL or just always?
Well, always. You're going to work yourself into a position. Now it's easier to move, but you could still move down. Okay. So I don't think those guys that realize they can't play are having a problem. They go slide down. Now, here is the problem. You are not going to have the same facilities. And I guarantee you this was a part of the problem because kids used to do this to the community college. They would slide down so you could play immediately. You would play 1 or 2 years at community college so you could bounce back up. And it either broke you or you came back tougher. And it broke a lot of players. And I'm not comparing Louisville to Central Community College of Northern Mississippi. I'm not comparing those two schools, but I guarantee you they don't have the type of facilities that a top 15 to 20, maybe 25 school has. I mean, I know that you can name 25 better college football programs than Louisville right now. Can you not? So
easily.
I bet you Tyler Barron and Wesley Walker got there and like, I'm not exaggerating. Dude, there's a line for the hot tub? Really? I bet it was that type of stuff. That's why when these guys left, I hated it for them. They may have been pushed out the door, but I will give you this. Josh Heupel's reputation in recruiting circles is he doesn't push as hard as he could. And there's been times where he could push guys out the door. I'm not going to mention who, but he hasn't done that. And in this particular case, he did not do that. And now these young men are kind of stuck for real.
But Dave, what do you make of the reporting that they were, do you believe it or not, that they were causing locker room issues by encouraging teammates to go get more NIL money because they had agents and that's what they had been doing? And that's why Jeff Brom dismissed him. Do you believe there's merit to that? That's what this reporter is saying.
Oh, well, I believe that if they were troublesome at Tennessee, it's hard for me to believe that they wouldn't be troublesome after going somewhere else and then troublesome after going to a place that I think's on a lower level of football facilities. Is that
but that type of troublesome specifically? I mean, what are your thoughts on players encouraging other players on the team to go seek out NIL money? More NIL money than they're getting.
I think that the numbers are so exaggerated that guys, I just want to tell you, I mean, Cooper works with the station and with what we do, and there may be some more players that I'm going to announce here shortly, but I will be honest with you, I don't know the other deals. I mean, those guys actually show up and they get interviewed, Caleb, and they really work for that money. I don't know the other deals and how they work. I don't know if you tweet something, do you get $25,000? I'm being honest.
Well, no, but my question is just on a general broad sense, locker room issue. Does it cause a locker room issue if Tyler Barron is going to other players on Louisville and saying you should be getting more money than you're getting? Because that's why Jeff Brom reportedly kicked him off the team.
Why would he do? Okay, but no, I don't believe that. Okay, so I don't believe Jeff Brom on that. I believe he said, I deserve other NIL things. And the players saw him and they're like, hey, we deserve it too. I don't think he tried to put together some sort of cardinal union. Do you?
Well, according to the reporter, that is what was happening, is that they had agents. And so they did get a lot of their NIL perks. And they started causing trouble in the locker room by telling other players, you're not getting enough and you're not getting what you deserve. And it sounds like I could say this. It's possible that was being leaked by the agent because the agent would love to represent them.
Oh, or a coach.
Oh, yeah, true. Do you think that was happening at Tennessee? Do you think Tyler Barron and Wesley Walker had an agent and that agent was going to other Tennessee players and saying, you're not getting enough, you should pull a Jeremy Banks and fight for more?
It has nothing to do with Tennessee. I will guarantee you that has happened because an agent has said, by the way, if you get them to sign with me, you'll get 10%. So without even knowing it, without even knowing it, I guarantee you that a 19-year-old has said, man, you ought to check out Bob. He's my agent. I don't know what you're getting on those capture slinging, but I got a wing deal and I'm making $2,000 a week or whatever it may be. I have no idea. But yes, I think those conversations go on. You would want it to go on, wouldn't you?
I agree. But this furthers our point that Tyler Barron may be the most short-sighted player in college football history because he was kicked off. He left Tennessee and then couldn't find a home because he kept doing whatever he could to maximize his NIL deal. And on top of that, now you're saying he might have been promised a referral bonus by his agent. So he was causing trouble in the locker room for other players because he wanted them to sign with his agent. And it's like, you're throwing an NFL career away for what? Maybe not an NFL career away. Okay, put it this way. You may not be throwing an NFL career away. I think he'll get drafted next year. But he's leaving a lot of millions of dollars on the table by devaluing his draft stock, isn't he?
You know what somebody told me? They said, wait till the taxes kick in.
Oh, you're right.
And I know for a fact that they have IRS meetings that you can go to know how much you should pay in taxes. But there are guys that went to the NFL and they were 24 years old and they didn't know they had to pay taxes on that money. They thought if I sign a $5 million contract, I get about $5 million. So the kids aren't stupid for not knowing. They just are not educated. I mean, I didn't know that taxes were, I didn't know what's that FICA And why is it taking FICA? Why is it taking some of my money too? You have a FICA listing, don't you, as well?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I never thought about that, and also just kind of the concept of like, what if did they take that into account? Mississippi, I know, has an income tax. Florida doesn't. Tyler Barron's now in Florida, but Michigan does, and Wesley Walker's now in Michigan. And you have to think of things from that perspective. But it's just like, okay, Wesley Walker, I still say I get it to a degree. He's only thinking about his NIL money because I don't think Wesley Walker has much of an NFL future. All due respect to him, Tyler Barron had an NFL future on this, and he is every day he's devaluing his draft stock, meaning he's leaving more millions on the table because he wants to get more chump change in NIL money.
I 110% agree. Had he said to himself, there is a great defensive edge rushing coach in Montana State, and I want to go there because I want to learn, and I don't think that I'm going to ever look good playing on the same team as Paul Pierce, James Pierce. And I disagree with that. I think two ends can only help each other. I disagree with that, but at least that would make more sense than he obviously doesn't care who's teaching pass rushing skills at any of these schools, or he would have stuck it out. If he would have said, I'm a quarterback, I want to go to Ole Miss because the way they teach quarterbacks, and I don't even mind sitting a year. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Make a lot more sense.
You know what he's doing with Rodney Garner, and you're bouncing around.
It's possible, and this is always, some people don't like to take any risk, and they live to regret it, because it's possible he's pulling a Scottie Pippen, which is he's saying, I don't know if maybe he's so worried about injury or something like that and just not confident that the NFL money's there. So maybe he's thinking, I got to take this money now. Kind of like the reason I said Scottie Pippen, for those who don't know, after the Bulls won their first title, Scottie Pippen signed a 7-year extension worth like $18 million. It was a horribly bad deal. And the owner of the Bulls at the time said, if you wait 2 years, your contract will be worth 3 times as much as what you're trying to sign for now. But Scottie Pippen wanted the money then. He wanted the money right then. So he was stuck in a $18 million deal, and he could have had a $50 million deal.
Dylan said at the end of the day, Barron traded a healthy paycheck and the best defensive line coach in the country. I'll add to that, being a part of a great defensive line makes you look better, which I know you didn't probably have room with the character limitations. And getting back to your post, a bigger paycheck right now. Here's the crazy part. Unless he's just a jackwagon, who thinks this is a bigger paycheck somewhere else? Unless he's really hard to get along with and you just want him gone, Tennessee can stand toe-to-toe with anybody, and they wouldn't lose a player of this ilk if he was good to work with. The only reason can be that he is difficult to work with, correct?
I think a couple of desperate schools offered NIL money to a level that Tennessee felt, we have enough edge rushers, we don't have to offer this. And if you're going to be this short-sighted that you're going to take this more NIL money when you have a chance to build yourself into a first-round draft pick, fine, you go ahead and walk. I think I think Rodney Garner was willing to say, if you're going to be that stupid with your long-term decisions, if you're going to be that short-sighted, then you go ahead and go somewhere else, because they got Joshua Josephs, they got Damon Hobbs, they got Chandavian Bradley, they've got Jordan Ross. They're thinking, we are good, we have enough edge rushers on this team.
Okay, I don't want to out the guy, but there's a guy that I covered that was a borderline second team All SEC defensive tackle around about those Henderson days and round about those Haynesworth days. And there was no question in my mind, because of some stupid things he said, that Tennessee's coaches, because he was borderline starter. If he's tweaked at all, he's not going to start. If he's 100%, he's probably one of your 2 best defensive tackles. Don't guess who it is, because you probably already know. But the dude was really difficult to work with, and I know there were some people on that staff that just didn't want him on the team. didn't want him to represent the team, didn't want him to visit with the media, just did not like him. So don't think that these decisions aren't closer than you think. And this may be an opportunity with the transfer portal to just push a guy like that out the door. Just bye-bye. See ya.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong. So,
and I got no problem with it
with
because they're taking up scholarships for some other guys, and they think they've made it because they're just making a couple of bucks.